We start this afternoon with an update on the breaking news we first brought you this morning on our Sunrise show. A freight train derailed on the steel bridge near downtown Portland, shutting down all traffic on the bridge for several hours. Good afternoon, I'm Drew Carney. In just the last hour and a half, ODOT reopened the top and bottom decks of the bridge. For more on this, we're going to send it out live now to Devin Haskins, who's been covering this story for us all morning. Devin, what's the latest?
Yeah, so the bridge, as you said, back open. We've seen TriMet trains go across the top. We've seen Amtrak trains go by down below on the bridge, and all the while the trains or the train cars that are still off the tracks remain right there. I want to direct your attention to one of those cars off to the left. It's that white one. That is the one that is leaning up against the bridge's support system, and that was a cause of concern about the bridge's structural integrity, which closed it down to traffic while engineers checked it out. Now, we watched as engineers inspected the bridge's supports and the other cars that derailed. Union Pacific tells us that just after 6 this morning, 5 cars went off the track. A spokesperson for the rail company said all the cars were empty at the time. Right now, we don't know what caused the train to derail. It's one of the many things that rail investigators will be looking into. We've also seen Union Pacific pull back portions of the train that were not impacted, leaving only the derailed cars and a few others on the tracks. This derailment, though, completely shut down the steel bridge for about 4 hours this morning, halting all traffic from getting across.
Steel bridge is really the hardest working bridge in town because it carries bikes and pedestrians and light rail and heavy rail and just all kinds of transit goes on the steel bridge. So it's difficult to get that thing closed up for a while.
Now, Portland Fire said that there were no injuries because of this. Again, the bridge is back open. You can see TriMet going above it, and those rail cars will remain there until they can get them back on the tracks and out of the way. Back to you.
All right, Devin Haskins reporting live for us this morning, or I should say now this afternoon, near downtown Portland. As we take this live look, beautiful skies. Is this the coast? What part of the coast are we looking at here? Is this Lincoln City, Rod?
Casino Resort Camp.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Remember, well, you news people get busy, so I know that you don't get to hear all of my weathercast in the morning on Sunrise, but our Futurecast models showed that it would turn into a pretty good afternoon. Now, there's still a shower chance along the coast, but you just saw how nice Lincoln City is right now. And in fact, if you look offshore, right now we're not picking up much action, so everything seems to be indicating that we are just about ready to enter in to an afternoon that will see increasing sun breaks and decreasing numbers of showers. Again, the shower chance will be continuing, but you won't be looking at just the rain and the rain and the rain that we've seen this morning. Starting to see the snow rates lighten up in the Cascades, but this has really been the big story. If you're not aware, this is one of our Timberline cameras. Look at all the snow just falling. Timberline, the only resort left that's operating on a daily basis up there right now, which is typical for this time of the year. So the lodge has picked up a foot of snow, a foot. Here's Government Camp. They've picked up 6 inches of snow. We're starting to see the highway get it in improved condition, 31 degrees. There were times this morning where you couldn't see the pavement. There's Santee Pass at 29 degrees. And a blue break in the cloud cover over downtown. Some showers currently out along the Columbia River. It's 48 degrees. It's 50 degrees in downtown Portland now, and we should be warming up to about 55 or 57 this afternoon, starting to dry things out a little bit. But Drew, there's another rainmaker coming in tomorrow. We'll talk about that in my complete forecast.
Looking forward to that conversation, Rod. Right now, though, we do want to get back to our local news headlines. The Multnomah County Sheriff's Office took a person into custody after a man was killed at a home. So we're going to tell you that this happened early this morning, right around 1 o'clock, and we're going to show you where exactly it happened. It was at a home in a rural part of the county on Northwest 6th Avenue, just off Cornelius Pass Road. Deputies found a 44-year-old man with injuries to his neck. They didn't give us any other specific details about the injuries. We do know first responders tried to save him, but he died at the scene. The man who's now in custody was also at the house. We'll update this story for you when we get more details. Over the weekend in Lynn County, one person died after a police chase along I-5 that ended in a shootout. This happened yesterday afternoon after state police joined sheriff's deputies and local officers responding to a reported shooting in Coburg, north of Eugene. Troopers chased a vehicle of interest along I-5, stopping the car with spike strips and getting into a shootout with the driver. The driver was killed. A passenger in the car was hurt and taken to the hospital. State police are now investigating that shooting in Coburg, while Albany police investigated the shootout on I-5. Portland firefighters rescued a person during an apartment fire in the Pearl District last night. So this happened around 10 o'clock on the 4th floor of the Emmons Place apartments. When firefighters arrived, they found a person unconscious inside one of the units. They were taken to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. Crews were able to put out the flames, but investigators are still trying to work and figure out what caused that fire. A paralyzed Portland woman, meanwhile, is struggling with her day-to-day life after the van that she's been using to get around for the past 27 years was stolen out of her driveway. KGW's Ashley Grams brings us more after speaking to the woman.
Instead of 2 legs, Lauren Silvis gets around on 2 wheels.
Paralyzed from the waist down since 1980.
But even confined to a chair for 44 years, she's still on the move.
I am independent.
Silvis also relies on a van outfitted with handicap equipment that enables her to drive herself to and from her job as a cashier at New Seasons.
I've had this van for 27 years.
On Sunday morning, it was stolen.
Hearing from my caregiver when she showed up at my house that my van was not in my driveway is my worst nightmare. I literally have had these thoughts of, what if I get up and my van is gone?
She did file a report with Portland police.
When I talked to them on the phone, they said they have a really pretty good recovery rate for finding people's vehicles.
Portland police say 81% of stolen vehicles are recovered within 30 days. And despite Silvis' experience, police say car thefts have dropped 40% compared to last year. But her biggest concern?
I don't know. I don't know.
She's not sure if her insurance will cover the loss of her handicap equipment.
Hand controls, I have the super arm lift, the transfer seat, and automatic doors.
And without that, her life changes drastically.
Yeah, I have no idea what I'm going to do without my van.
Again, that was Ashley Grams reporting for us here this afternoon. Portland State University, meanwhile, says it's temporarily pausing its relationship with Boeing. That decision comes after months of students urging the university to divest their finances away from any companies they believe are advancing Israel's military efforts in Gaza. PSU's newspaper reports that Boeing has donated $150,000 to the university and about $28,000 a year for scholarships. So, in response to its students and staff, the university says it's pausing any gifts or grants from Boeing for at least the time being. A couple dozen protesters gathered on PSU's campus Friday night, and some are expected to show up again today. Similar efforts continue on college campuses all across the country, with some of those protests leading to mass arrests.
There are people who don't have the choice on whether their life is risked over this or not. If all I have to risk is maybe sitting in a cell for a minute to help that, I will.
Portland State says it's hosting a moderated forum with students and faculty next month to address their concerns, and PSU's president says she'll participate. Tomorrow is the deadline to register for next month's Oregon primary. So because Oregon is a closed primary state, you do have to be registered as either a Republican or a Democrat in order to vote in any of the partisan races. So that includes the races for president, Congress seats, and state offices. You can register or update your registration either in person or online at OregonVotes.gov. Ballots will start going out in the mail this Wednesday. Primary day is 3 weeks away on Tuesday, May 21st. This Thursday, KGW and the Oregonian will host a live debate between the 2 candidates running for Multnomah County District Attorney. And we're giving you a chance to ask them directly, or ask them questions directly, that is. We're talking about current DA Mike Schmidt and challenger Nathan Vasquez. What you can do is record a simple short video on your phone, then email us that video. We've got that email address right there on your screen. It's debate@kgw.com. That debate will air live Thursday evening starting at 6:30 right here on KGW.